I know I'm here. I know I'm here. Nobody else does, though, because I haven't pushed the button. There it is. Boop. Button pressed. I am live. Okay. I should really clear my throat before I do the live stream, but right, I am live. Oh my god. I've had this kind of weird throat thing for the past couple of days, so forgive me. Also, a bit sniffly. Just got a cold or something. Just typical. Because we're less than a week till Bear Bash. And that's just typical. I mean, I'm only doing one thing at Bear Bash, so it's not a big deal. But it's Oh, stop it. I'm okay. Right, I'm using up the last couple of hours because the live stream hours I get back on the 27th, I think, which means that I better use these hours up before I do this. So yeah, before I come back and do another live stream. So yeah, I was gonna say how is everybody, but I just saw the view count drop down to nothing again. So yeah, okay. So for the past couple of days, I have been doing nothing but writing, doing worky, and researching and doing all this stuff. And I've nearly filled up a whole pad with information as well as some just notes and stuff. For the upcoming book, or almost a comic, or I don't know what to call it, because as far as I understand, eventually it's going to be a book, but for now, the plan was before my partner had to go deal with some family emergency for a month or two. I'm not bitter. I totally understand why they need to do that. I get it. It was going to be kind of almost a web series, just a quick a web writing series, and then it was going to be a book eventually. That was the original plan. However, it seems that I'm writing the book, or at least I'm going to have the beginnings of the story laid out for when it's properly written, because all I've got right now at the moment is the basic information and the basic characters, with no real stories besides their backstories at the moment. That's the plan. That's the plan. We do have one big story, but it's this is like a season finale kind of situation, or one big, yeah, you know how in TV series is they have one really big event kind of in the middle somewhere, or even at the end, almost a cliffhanger situation. Well, that's kind of what I've been preparing for. I've basically I've got all the characters, I've got the big situation, and I've got I'm basically writing at the moment where every single character is and what they're doing during this situation, and that's kind of where that's what I'm working on. And this is basic guidance that I've been given from my writing partner, and yeah, So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I've been like trying to do anyway. And that's what I haven't been doing any of that today. So I need to get on with that. Unless it's really boring and like we need to go on to do some gaming or something. But I've only got like a couple of hours because, like I said, my streaming hours on StreamYard have been kind of StreamYard. It moved. It moved when I said StreamYard. StreamYard? Hello? Did anyone else see that? Was that just me? I know I'm crazy, but like, there it is again. Oh, okay. It's just an animation that happens every now and again. It was just a weird coincidence, I think, when I said StreamYard. Maybe it's a volume thing. Yay! Loud noise. No. I would do my naval, my naval, my navy kind of like shouty voice, but like that was years ago, and I don't think I can bring that out again, especially this late at night with neighbours around me in the middle of my garden. Well, in the middle of my office, which is in the middle of my garden. Okay. Yeah. I forgot where I was. Wherever I was. Oh my god. Yeah. I have been. So I'm going to need to be doing that tonight, and I'm going to be thinking aloud at you, basically, while I'm doing that. But yeah, I've gotten on some progress, and like I know at least one person would be interested to know that watches my live streams. That would be interested to know where I am with the whole story and everything. But yeah, what else have I been doing? I have been sorting out Pokemon cards because basically I've still got to sort out Pokemon cards because I haven't been able to sort out Pokemon cards because the cupboard in which the safe, it's technically a safe in which my Pokemon cards are stored, has been blocked. There's just been lots of stuff in the way of it, and it's just been recently cleared. So I need. I've been saving up like a stack of Pokemon cards to go in to be catalogued, and those Pokemon cards have been catalogued, but I got some new ones recently accidentally on purpose. So I had to basically like do those again, and yeah, that's what I've been doing. Especially since the value of Pokemon cards has gone up recently, which is kind of cool, but at the same time a little bit scary because like it means that I can't purchase Pokemon cards as often as as easily. It's not as often. I don't really get Pokemon cards that often. Okay, basically I only get Pokemon cards like whenever I need to get something on Amazon, which because I don't have any money, it's like I don't really go on Amazon at all. So yeah, but I needed to go on Amazon just recently because I am selling some of my Pokemon cards. So like I needed to get like some top loaders and some sleeves and stuff. And when I was getting these items, that little thing at the bottom of Amazon, when you put something in your basket, there's sometimes a little pop-up that comes up. It seems like I was going to say every other item, but it seems to happen more than 50% of the time. 75% of the time? It pops up now? It's blatant manipulation. And it worked. I don't know if anybody knows this specifically. There's like 6 of you out there on Earth that basically may know this. But like I've got a good collection of Pokemon cards, but one of the things that I've got a really good collection of is Pikachus, because they were just the one that you could get the most of when I first started collecting Pokemon cards when I was like 12. When I was 12 or 13 or I think I was older than that. I think I was like 14, 13 or 14, I think, when basically like Pokemon was a thing at my school. Like it seemed to hit every school like at different times, you know. And when I was 13 or 14, that's when it hit my school, my high school. And yeah, it was a thing. You know, it wasn't like that huge of a movement. I don't remember it being like that massive of a movement. It was just a thing that just kind of like happened at my school, and I managed to get some super rare cards because again I could get Japanese cards and nobody seemed to know where to get the Japanese cards except for me, which was cool. But at the same time, it was kind of like you know, I told everybody my secret, and yet still I was still somehow the only person that knew where to get the Japanese cards. I don't understand this. Did they just not remember when they got home exactly where this secret, you know, the secret Asian shop, the kind of like in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of like a bunch of shopping, in the shopping district area of Romford Market, there was like an arcade, and you go into this arcade, and basically like not a video games arcade, like an arcade, like an indoor street, with shops on either side, and basically one of these little shops was an Asian shop. You know, it's basically like an Asian kind of like a knick-knack shop kind of thing. I'm trying to think of a good equivalent. I was going to say like in the UK, you know how you've got like the Polish like groceries. You even have like Chinese groceries and stuff if you go to Chinatown in London, you know. So well, it's kind of like stuff like that. Well, in the middle of Romford, there was. I don't know if it's still there. I've got the internet. I can look it up. There was a shop that basically sold like collectibles from like Asia, you know, specifically Japan. I think it was Japan and Japan, Korea, and China, although it was mostly Japanese stuff. And one of the things that they sold was Pokemon cards. Because of this, I got Pokemon cards. And I was one of the only people that did this. And I don't know what it was about this place, but like I said, nobody at school, even though I told them exactly where to find this place, nobody at school went there. Nobody at school went there to get those cards. So I ended up being the only guy that did this. And I don't know if they were scared of the place. I don't understand this. It was just like a shop. It's just a store. It's just a small shop, you know. Just right there. You know, I should have taken one of my friends. Like I got this memory of doing that, but I think that I might have just accidentally made that memory, you know, just because of the way that my brain works. So I'm pretty sure that I just imagined doing that, and then my brain said, no, that happened. It's like, did it though? Did it? I don't think. Oh my god, no! I did take somebody there. And they got something else. They didn't get Pokemon cards. I got Pokemon cards, but they didn't get the Pokemon cards, even though I went in there specifically to show them where to get the fucking Pokemon cards. That's why I don't remember it so clearly, because they didn't get the thing that I wanted them to. What is with my throat? I'm really struggling to make the sound crisp and clear. Otherwise, it's going to come out like this. Oh my god. I'm okay. My throat is cleared up mostly. You can ask my buddy Itchy. I was watching Star Trek with him yesterday. It was cool. But yeah, I was talking like this, and it was really uncomfortable. But yeah, I'm actually going to see if I can do that. I'm going to share my screen. First. Okay, sharing screen. Where's my button? No, I don't like that. There, I'll do that. That's fine. So this is my screen. There it is. Oop. Okay, I cannot, as you can see, I can't see the chat right now. So if anybody's talking, I'm sorry, but yeah, we're gonna go hunt for this shop if it exists still. But yeah, so this is basically where I grew up. Like specifically, I grew up in this bit, Howard Hill. It's a bit off of Romford. Like in the UK, we don't really have suburbs and stuff. So, but I guess this would be considered kind of. It's basically a mini town connected to the city because this Romford was technically a city in its own right. But yeah, so this is like a town, and this is where I grew up, and I went to school. Oh, I'm lost. Unless it's just not there anymore, because that would be creepy. That'd be really creepy. Wait a minute. There it is. Although it's not, it was it. This is the new school, but this is where basically, like, I went to high school. It's this is not a good indication of what it looked like, because there was a whole building here, and like there was an older building here, and like this was definitely not a hockey pitch. Wow. And that was the rugby pitch, and I know that because I was on the rugby team. But yeah, and then it's the M25. Anyway, so like I went to school here. Like one of my last jobs before moving out here was in this warehouse, and like my house was roughly over here. So yeah, but this is Romford, and so I'm going to. This is Romford Market, and aha. In this is, I think this is the arcade. No, it's over here somewhere. No way. It might be gone. Anyway, let me see if I can actually find. Look, can we go onto the market itself? Okay, here's the market. Right. Up here a bit. Is that the arcade? That looks like it. Can we go in there? I don't think we can go in there. This building is new. Well, newish. Like it wasn't there when I was growing up. This is the market. It's usually like actually a market. That's kind of sad. Yeah. It doesn't look like you can actually get in there. Oh, it's plants. Okay, I was like, is that a mini Christmas tree? But no, it's just plants. Okay, that's either gentrified or that's not the right one. Cafe. Sorry, I know this is boring, but it will be worth it. I promise. Greg's. There it is. Oh yeah, and a random old church. That was always creepy, especially when all the stalls were out. When all there's like so many stalls. It's a huge market. Okay, like there's like stalls up and stuff. And I just remember, I know I was a child, but I remember when we used to walk through the market and like suddenly bells, you can hear church bells, and it was kind of creepy because when you're a small child, it's like you can't see the church. You don't know where it is. You're in a maze of like stalls and stuff, and it's just crazy. Okay, can we actually get in here? It is this one with the clock. Yeah. Oh, it's on this side. It's on this side. Oh, that pisses me off. I know it comes out over here. I don't think we can get in. There. Fuck. That's disappointing. Also, the camera got all the way over here, but it didn't actually get into the quadrant. Quadrant for health. There's a hotel. That's where the Travelodge is. Oh, that's embarrassing. Would make sense though. Repairs while you wait. Warhammer. Warhammer. A Warhammer bought it? This is around about the location where it would be. I mean, maybe. I mean, it was like 25 years ago. Okay. Romford, you guys. Okay. I want to go back to Romford, but at the same time, I know that I don't really want to go back to Romford. It's one of those weird things of like, I want to experience the nostalgia. It's like, yeah, but you'd have to go back to this awful place, and it's like, okay, I don't. I know it's basically impossible. I'm just like really annoyed. I'd be really annoyed about running into anybody from high school. I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't want to do that. Oh, this park is looking so nice from above. I forgot that it opens up like hugely. It's massive back here. But you have to go through this bit. Bloody underground. That's crazy. Where's my college? Is that my college? No. I'm kind of like Buckinghamton. No, that is my college. There it is. It's like 3 different institutes in one. It's like crazy. But yeah. Anyway, that's just a random history lesson. That's where you get Pokemon cards from. It's now Warhammer, I think. On the Earth planet. I should get back to the live stream. Nobody's here anyway, so it's fine. Right. So yeah, that's why I used to get Pokemon cards. It used to be like I said, a Japanese curiosity store. You know, like ornaments and stuff. They just would have ornaments and like things that were vaguely Asian, I guess. If Romford had a Chinatown, like that would be the store it was all compacted into. You know, there wasn't like a big Chinatown or anything. But yeah. But yeah. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I got some things from Amazon, and like I got a new Pikachu, and I have now got like 30 different kinds of Pikachu, and some of them are actually expensive. Like some of the Pikachu's are like really good in price. Like I can look it up. I can look it up on my phone because I've just been doing this. But yeah, I got this app. That's the collector app on my phone, or my mini tablet, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I've got a Pokemon card that's possibly worth $147. Although if you click on the cards, like look, it tells you how much like each card is kind of worth, right? And if you click on it, if I click on one and view sold listings, then it's like, yeah, that's crazy. Apparently, one in mint condition 10 on the condition scale sold for almost 20,000. It's like 28,000 and stuff. Mine, I think, if I was basically just on the PSA scale, It's fairly good condition. It's got some tiny light, surface scratches. Just stuff, a little bit scuffing around the edges, not that much. I'd say like 8, 7. Go for 7. $500. Like, it's pretty cool. I just scrolled down. But yeah, like I'd say mine's like a 7. Even if it's a 6, it's still pretty high up there. It's pretty good. But yeah, that's for my Gengar card, because I've got like a shiny Gengar card. Ooh. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I've been doing that anyway. I've been cataloging my cards, doing the self-evaluation. They cost a lot to get graded. I don't really want to. I kind of want to get them graded, but at the same time, it costs money, like a lot of money, to actually get them like graded. And I'm worried. I'm really worried that that like one of them's going to come back, and it's just going to be like, it's a fake. It's not worth anything. And then I'm later on, like a few years later, I'm going to hear something about like PSA and how they're actually an awful company that like takes your cards and then replaces them with fake ones, and then basically like sends the fake ones back to you, but they take the cards kind of situation. I don't know. I don't trust. I need to trust better with the cards. It's just that my collection means a lot to me. Even if I'm going to sell off the duplicates, it still means a lot to me, especially with my Ancient Mew. Even though it's not in the best condition, it's like it's like I've got 2 of these. It's amazing that I've got 2 of these. It's crazy, in my opinion. It's crazy. So yeah. So that's what I've been doing anyway. Yeah. Right. Well, I've been on for half an hour, which means I've got an hour and a half basically until my StreamYard turns into a pumpkin. Until tomorrow, anyway. Well, until the day after tomorrow. 27 is when I get all of my hours back. I get 20 hours a month. Oh, shut up. Sorry, my phone is complaining because I touched it. Oh my god, I touched it. My old phone. Because it's on top of... it was on top of my little pad. So, in case anybody didn't know, this is my cheat sheets, my quick pad for the writing project that I've been working on, and it's essentially like you're gonna have to know Star Trek. In Star Trek, there was this gigantic space station that's orbiting Earth. It's called Space Dock, and on this space station, like, is where Starfleet basically. It's the main spaceport for Earth. It's the thing you go to get reassigned, or like for ship repairs, or like it's basically just a space airport. It's a spaceport. It's Space Dock. This is what it is. I can actually put a picture of it on the screen. I think I can anyway. Last time I did this, it didn't work. Like I couldn't find a picture of Space Dock on my computer, and it's true. I don't really have a picture of Space Dock on my computer. I don't think. I've got diagrams, and I've got the cool information sheet for Space Dock. Can I do multiple? Can I put multiple pictures up? No. I have to do it one at a time. Oh my god. I need one picture in particular. If I can't find it, it looks like a giant space mushroom. In fact, that's what when I've been watching Star Trek with Itchy, I've been calling it the giant space mushroom because it looks like a giant space mushroom. It's a giant space mushroom. Giant mushroom. Space. I know it sounds like I'm going crazy. Oh my god. Oh, I need this picture. But also, okay, I've got to remember this. It's near the bottom. Stop there. Stop that. Let me just. I'm trying to explain what space dock is. Computer. Stop fucking with me. Why do I have so many? Oh yeah, I know. I was gonna say, why do I have so many pictures of? That's the one. Giant space mushroom. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I got so many pictures of a Nebula class, a Star Trek Nebula, the Starfleet Nebula class starship, and that's because in my old channel, on my old channel, my old serious channel, it was all about basically all about sci-fi stuff and explaining how things work. And I did a segment on the Nebula class and its pros and cons and all that stuff. Basically, like ranking ships and stuff. Anyway, that's Space Dock. That's Space Dock. That's what the book is going to be about at some stage. So that's the giant space mushroom. But yeah, ships go in it and they fly out and they basically like they dock with it and all of this stuff. It is a 3-mile long space station that just is in Earth orbit and it's huge and you can see it from Earth and everything. It's like it's massive. But yes, I mean it's got to be massive. Spaceships go inside of it and dock. It's like one of the best things that Star Trek has ever come up with. It's like it's really cool. But yeah, anyway, yeah, me and my buddy are writing a book basically that's set on this, and it's not going to be like some kind of like huge epic sci-fi action scene thing or anything. It's actually more like a drama, you know. It's more like a soap opera drama, you know. Like if anybody's seen Star Trek, imagine Deep Space Nine, but without the huge political bullshit that happens. You know, the huge life and death moments, all of the space drama stuff that goes on between like Cisco and his kid and like you know, Casty Yates and like oh my god, I'm trying to think of some really good like space drama that doesn't involve huge plot points and story arcs and all of this stuff. You know, without the Dominion War and stuff, like Worf and Jadzia and like you know, Bashir and Garrick and is it Garrick, whatever. You know, all of this stuff basically, but it's all about the drama stuff. There is one huge action scene that's happening, and that's actually something that I'm working on now in this pad. That's one of the reasons why this pad is. Like, I've not got a lot of paper left in this pad because of this. So yeah, that's what I've been working on, and that's what I'm going to be working on now. But yeah, the drama happens all up in this place. So yeah, I wish you could see my pointer, my arrow on my screen. But this is the mushroom that this whole drama is set on. Okay. But yeah, I've got lots of things mapped out in the first few pages. Just explaining where everything is. each segment, because I don't know if you can see on. Yeah, like it's separated into segments. Like there's like the mushroom is separated into segments, and at the top you've got like administration and offices and stuff, as well as like communication relays and shit. You got the main dock, which is the actual mushroom part of the mushroom, the space mushroom, and that's where ships fly into and stuff. You got the segment right under it, which is actually meant for small ships and shuttles and stuff, and they can fly into little docks that are in that. Then you got this segment, and this segment's weird because this segment is actually, there's a big park that's inside this segment, and that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now, with the story anyway. And then you've got the bit underneath it, which is like the this long bit, and that long bit is quarters, and like you know, that's where everybody like lives and sleeps and eats and stuff, like in that bit. And then the bit right underneath it is like labs and engineering stuff, and then the bit directly underneath it, that's like the reactor. And it's never really stated. I've got on my thing that there's basically there could be a warp core there, but like I always thought that it was a huge fusion reactor because it doesn't really need a warp core. You know, the thing hasn't got warp engines. It's a giant space station. Stationary station. It's a space station. It stays there, which is one of the reasons why the Death Star isn't a space station. But yeah, it's like a huge fusion reactor. In my opinion, it's a giant fusion reactor, but I'm pretty sure like other people argue that it's not a fusion reactor. It's actually it actually is a warp core, and it needs to keep all the systems running on the station. And it's like, but then I've got some blueprints that just say that it's just a big gas storage. Like the bulb is just a big gas storage bulb thing. So I don't know who to believe. In my notes, I've got it's got a fusion reactor, and it also has gas storage. It also has like a huge sensor array, and it's basically a bunch of engineering stuff that's in the big bulb thing at the bottom. Anyway, those are the sections. They are listed as like, I think the top one is A1, administration. Then you've got D1, D2, and then H1, H2, and then R1, and then E1. So like it's administration, docking, habitat, research, engineering. I think those are the segments of the station, and basically like that's what they're listed as. So yeah, like that's what I've got. I've got like a bunch of different races that basically like different species that go through the station regularly. And then we've got like quick character sheets for each person. I think I already went through these on a previous live stream. And I've been mapping out where everybody is during this big incident that happens in the station. Character sheets. I've got one blank one because Itchy is supposed to provide me with a brief character description so that I can fill it out. Itchy doesn't do his homework. But yeah, anyway. Then I've got like the notes for the giant shuttle incident. So many notes. So what happens is that somewhere in the middle, like somewhere here, is in the shuttle area. Basically, a shuttle explodes, and it's a warp core explosion. Like it's a miniature warp core in the shuttle, and it explodes, which sends the station in chaos. Like chaos happens in the station, and like I've got 20 characters, like this many characters. I don't know if you can tell how thick the paper is compared to the rest of the book, but yeah. And I've been mapping out where everybody is during this explosion, as well as like 3 pages worth of notes just on describing what actually happens in the explosion itself. So yeah, so basically there's like a huge, well, a fairly huge antimatter explosion, and it blows up almost all of this section, and it destroys at least a quarter of it. It like is completely destroyed, and the rest of it is basically super damaged. What I'm writing at the moment is that somebody on this section right here in the park is actually just in the park when this happens. So this is the dome. This is the park, right? That's in that segment. Like they're in that when the explosion actually happens, and it's like it's bad. Do I have a picture of it? Did I do a little diagram? Did I doodle? Did I do a doodle? Doodly doodle. Ha! I did. actually did a little doodle. Didn't do the whole park, just did the cross section of that segment. But yeah, so yeah, somebody is like in the park part, and the explosion actually happens up. It actually takes out part of the segment, like just a little bit into the segment. The roof, basically, like some of it comes down into this park, and it's like it's crazy. So that's what I'm writing at the moment. Like that's where I am at the moment. I'm trying to figure out Lieutenant Commander O'Sullivan, and who's the chief of security for H1, which is that. God damn it, that segment where the park is, the dome. Like he's in the park when this happens. So yeah, let me just give you a brief, like a Commander Tub. that is a canonical character, by the way. But yeah, like I've got here, like what they were doing just before the explosion, and then I've got like a briefing of what happens to them actually during the explosion. So before the explosion and then during the explosion, I've got like a quick briefing. So I'll give you a quick rundown of basically like some of my notes if I can. So like this guy had a lunch briefing with Academy Facility Head of Engineering in A1's Starfleet Operations Complex lower mess hall about supervising students working on his aero shuttle, because this character is building an aero shuttle in the Starfleet Academy, which is like in that segment. It's also Starfleet Academy. There's a segment of this bit here. D2. It has not only does it have shuttle bays for shuttles and shuttle docks and stuff, but also it has a hospital complex in it, and also it has a customs complex, storage for cargo, and Starfleet Academy. Like they have a little campus. It's huge. Like this segment alone, that segment between the mushroom bit and the dome, like in between these two bits, that segment alone is the size of like 4 giant starships. It's like 6 it's like 6 galaxy starships, galaxy class starships, kind of like that's the internal volume of it. If you basically were to melt down some galaxy class starships and just like put them in a container, like it would be about that size. That's how big this segment is. So it's not, it's got the room, you know, even with all of the storage and all of the cargo bays and stuff like that. Not the cargo bays, the shuttle bays. It's got the room for this. So yeah. So yeah, there's a Starfleet Academy actually has a campus on Space Dock, and it is located right there, right in that segment. And yeah, it's in the shuttle bay. That's where his aero shuttle is. This character is building an aero shuttle, which is a big. It's basically a runabout, but larger. It's like a warp capable vessel that's just a little bit bigger than a runabout. If you know what Starfleet runabouts, how big they are. It's a runabout is like a space shuttle that is like a little bit bigger. And this thing's bigger than that. Anyway, he's letting the cadets work on his shuttle for like emergency procedures or emergency repair procedures or whatever, because he hasn't built it yet fully. Anyway, he's talking to one of the heads of the departments for Starfleet Academy, and about like lesson plans or something. I don't know, but the details of that are to be ironed out later. This is just a briefing of, these are just notes on what's happening. So yeah, on the way down, so he's up here to begin with, and on the way down, he basically stops here because in the middle of this, the mushroom part is basically an airport, and one of the things at airports is food, and there's a food place that is called Soul's Diner, which is actually a smart play on words, whatever. And he picks up dinner for his friend, who is number 6, because that's just character number 6, and I've labeled the pages, so like, yeah. Character number 6, who is basically his best friend and who is helping him build the aero shuttle. Anyway, he picked up lunch for them, and then he goes all the way back down to that one, to that segment. At the time of the explosion, 1 and 6, this is character 1 and 6 are talking in the large academy docking bay of the academy complex in D2. They are outside the aero shuttle while 6 eats their lunch. Cadets are starting to make their way to the bay and over to them. Then the explosion actually happens. It rocks the bay violently, and then everybody basically has time to stand up, and then the atmospheric shields of the bay go offline, and that's where you'd expect people to be sucked into space, although they get blown into space. Common misconception, but that's not actually how atmosphere works. You know, basically, like if you're standing right at the opening, you're dead. In fact, somebody does die. Yeah. So one of the techs that was working on a different shuttle at the time, basically, who was standing quite close to the shield when it went offline, he gets sucked into space. I hate saying that, knowing that's wrong. Whatever. But yeah. Number 1 yells to everyone to stay down as everyone had been thrown to the ground, but at least one technician is blown out before the shields come back on. But the pressure is now incredibly low, causing number 1 to pass out outside the door to the corridor that automatically closed. So he's outside the door to the corridor. He's probably going to try to get out there and then basically repressurize the bay so that they can, or at least shut the blast doors or something. But he passed out, and that's where basically his story ends. So does he die? Who knows? That's part of the drama. Then I moved on to a different character, Lieutenant Commander Butler. This one's boring. They can't all be great, okay? They can't all be great. There's 20 characters, and I had to write down where everybody was during this explosion. So Lieutenant Commander Butler, number 2, was working in R1. That's like there on the mushroom. Was working on one at Shell Bay's fabrication bay, working on a ship's main computer core component that had just been brought in by a shuttle and was performing the basic diagnostics. My pen ran out just here. It was hard to read. Basic diagnostics. The explosion shakes the room and alarms sound. And then he reports himself as he's a technical. He's basically an engineer. He's a scientific engineer. He's a computer scientist. So he reports himself as an injured to the section's ranking officer, gets assigned to H2 repair crew. So yeah, see, like not all of them can be great. But yeah, Admiral Sato, the commander of Space Dock 1, is not on Space Dock 1. So I had to write down where she was and stuff. Admiral Sato is at a Starfleet command on Earth for an Admiral conference. It's actually a reassignment conference. Like they're talking about like personnel reassignments and stuff. Who's been working on Space Dock and all of that stuff. It's really, really boring administration crap that she had to do at Starfleet command, which is on Earth at San Francisco. She is staying in Starfleet accommodation block connected to the Starfleet spaceport, in San Francisco. It is 6:30 a.m. on Earth when the explosion actually happens. On the space station, it's actually 1:36 p.m. Because orbital time is different to the ground. It's a thing, okay? It's just a thing. She gets through requests to be transported to the station as soon as it is safe. She directs basically just goes on to basically say that it's like she's helping out with she's the administration, so she basically has to tell everybody what to do. It's a thing. Okay, A4, Chiron. Number 4, Chiron. Chiron is an Andorian. He's married to Admiral Sato. He's on the station at the time. He's an Andorian. He's a holo writer. He writes holo novels. He's retired. He was in the military. Anyway, is in an empty lounge with his pad. That's basically like an iPad, but more futury. No one cares. With his pad at the D1 dock. The D1 dock in the D1 segment. At D1 dock, D1 segment. So that's the D1 segment. So inside. Aha. There's a core inside the space mushroom, and inside the space mushroom's dock, there is it's basically an airport complex, and there's like a lounge for each dock. So he's in D1. There's like so many docks. It's this thing. He's in the lounge for D1, just chilling. The explosion heavily shakes the room, throwing him back from the window. He sees some of the damage as the blast shields descend over the windows, and he gets back up. He makes his way to the stairwell as directed by the tannoid system, because you can't use the turbolifts. You can't use the turbolifts. You definitely can't use at the moment of the explosion, like they're telling people not to use the giant tram system that runs down the entire station, because there is a giant tram system. You can't do it all by space dock. That'd be crazy. So it directed all civilians in the dock, in the dock column, the docking column, to board all dock ships and shuttles for emergency evacuation. So basically, there's been a big emergency, and he's been directed to go to a ship of some kind. Luckily, there's one right below him. So yeah. He stopped on each floor on the way to the ship docked at gate D2 to make sure the docks that the decks were cleared, so that he can direct people to go to the ship that he's about to get on. He boarded the Sabre-class USS Jaeger, the second from last ship to leave space dock at the time of the emergency situation. So basically, because there's been a huge problem in this bit, every ship that was docked inside the mushroom basically had to leave through the space doors to get to safety until they can figure out what has happened and to figure out how they can safely fix it. So yeah, Lieutenant Dorian, our first casualty. I'm sorry if anybody's watching this and is going to read this later, but spoilers, he dies. Lieutenant Dorian is a medical officer. He works in the customs office, and he works in the section that's blown up. Yeah, he works in the customs office to clear people as they come through space dock, and is drinking coffee while working on D2 Hospital Complex Customs Diagnostic Lab, working on the diagnostics of the lab computer. Sadly, the explosion crushes and superheats the room he's in. He dies instantly. It's kind of a bummer, because this guy has been written to be kind of a dick. He's kind of an asshole, and it's I don't know. I kind of feel like I was going to write something nice about him, but not really. Number 6, Ensign Savenya. She had fine-tuned one of the RCS assemblies of the Aero Shuttle during her lunch break in D2 Academy Large Shell Bay. She's given a Reuben sandwich by number 1, who is waiting for a group of cadets. As she explains, she's taken 5. She's a pilot. She's a shuttle pilot. She's taken 5 cadets for transfer to the new USS Parliament class. The USS Parliament. Why did I write Parliament class? Whatever. NX 7049. See, I did research on this ship. This is one of the new ships. You can tell I did research because it's written like I did research. It doesn't matter. The explosion knocks her over, but she instantly gets up and into the pressurized aero shuttle cockpit because she's in the same shuttle bay as number 1. But she gets into the pressurized part of the ship that's being built in space dock. Well, I've lost where I was. She grabs 2 emergency oxygen masks, giving one to number 1, who is unconscious on the ground as she passes him on the way out the door to repressure the bay. Did I write any more? Oh yeah, I did. She then returns with an emergency med kit to help anyone in the bay. So basically, oh, we got this guy. I felt like I was being lazy, but I figured that at least one person just wouldn't, one of the 20 characters here just wouldn't be on the station and wouldn't really be connected to anything that's happening with the explosion or anything at this time. And we've got Commander Saluk, who's a Vulcan. He's a Vulcan historian. Is currently on an assignment with the USS Sentinel. That's an Akira class ship, I think. Yep. It's like he's not there. Really boring page. It's just one line. And now we've got the guy that I'm writing. We're only on number 8 of 20. We're only on number 8 of 20. And the guy I'm writing he's the chief of security of H1. Habitat 1. Which is this thing. So yeah. Oh god, shut up, you guys. So yeah, he's on the pathway. He's on one of the pathways near the central core. So that would be kind of like, yeah. That central core, by the way, is vital. That's where the train line is. That's where the transport trolleys, whatever you want to call them. They're basically huge. They are basically trains. They're train cars that go up and down the station constantly. Kind of like buses, like big buses. So yeah, I have to write some information on this guy and what he's doing and like where he is and stuff. This park, by the way, is called Pike Park. Which I thought was clever. But it isn't really. Everybody knows who Pike is. Jesus. So yeah, I need to make that bigger. So that I can see it. Even though I can just open up the file. I think he'd be facing the boating lake. I think that's where I'm going to put him. But yeah, he is like I said, he's chief of security. What we know about this guy is Stanley Hancock. That's not that one. Oh, here we go. Hojan O'Sullivan. He's 29. He's Terran, so he's human. He's Irish, obviously. He lives on deck H2 142. So that's the H2, deck 142 of H2. It would basically list all the decks, but there are so many decks. Like so many. Did I write down how many decks there are? Oh, by the way, there are 30,000 quarters on this thing. Like, fucking... what? 12,000 decks. And he lives on H2 142. Deck 142 of the H2 segment. So that's like... yeah. They live on the station. He lives on the station with his wife, who's number 9. He's a doctor in Starfleet. Okay. With his wife and 2 kids, aged 9 and 6. He patrols Pike Park. He doesn't like his office. That's the information I've got on him so far. Like, a lot of this is going to be filled out later. But... So yeah, he's patrolling Pike Park whilst the explosion happens. I've just got to get, like... Yeah. He's patrolling Pike Park H1 after lunch. But he is the head of security for the whole dome section. Like, he's the... Each of the segments is kind of run almost like it's its own starship. So this is like a huge deal, you know. Like, this is like he's got a huge job. Like, that's his job. So I've got an itch. All right, my love handle. Yeah. So I've got to figure out, like, exactly what part of this is damaged, like how much of the explosion like actually causes a lot of damage and stuff. Oh my god, his wife is probably dead. Think about it later. It's not important right now. I mean, it is, but it's not. Oh my god. So I've got to grab my pen. But also an eyelash that just went right into my eye. Exciting viewing, huh, guys? Okay. So yeah, this explosion's like a huge deal. After lunch, he is by the core. On the path to the boating lake. So now we know where he is. So that's something. But yeah, so the explosion hits. It damages. I was going to say that actually breaks part of the roof, like you can see all the way out into space and stuff. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm not going to do that. I think that part of the roof just falling down would be enough of some bullshit to happen to them, you know. Like, this is the park. And I think that some of that being exposed to space would be a bit much. Like, the roof being dented / broken would be enough, I think. Do you think they have windows? Like, looking down at the park and stuff? Do you think they have windows and shit? I know that at least one, there's a couple of hotels that actually exist on H2. And, like, one of them is part of the outer skin of the dome. And the other one is part of the, there's like a big, Well, you can see it there, like the star shaped thing in the middle. Like that is actually that's actually kind of like almost a building, you know, and like one of those lobes of the star is actually a hotel. So I know there's windows there, but do you think there's actually windows like in that thing? Maybe. I mean, the park is amazing. Sorry, sorry. I love that it's got a boating lake and everything. It's very, very cute. Oh my god. Could you not? Could you just not? So yeah, recreation admin. What? So I'm just looking at the cutaway diagram, and it's like doesn't really make sense. I need a. I need to look at this properly. What is? Oh my god! So it says F on this, and I picked that as a random location for basically like debris to fall. It's a picnic area slash playground, apparently, according to the thing. Okay. So there's also shuttle bays that are actually connected directly, like all the way through into this space. So yeah, like I'm gonna have like I was gonna say glass shattering and stuff, but there's actually no glass. Glass isn't a thing. It's transparent aluminum. It's actually impossible for glass to shatter. The explosion rocks. Hakes one heavily. Should I make like waves happen and stuff in the in the ponds and the water feature? It's like a huge water feature. Is there a swimming pool? I think there's a swimming pool. I think that's what that one right there is. Um, Debris falls from the ceiling onto the picnic and play area. You have to give me a second. I'm writing. I'm doing the thing that I said I was doing. Onto the picnic. Picnic. Let's go picnic. And play area. Full causes that to happen. Also, the should I mean, I should like have the power fluctuate for the. That wouldn't actually happen that much because there are safety mechanisms in place to make sure that there's no atmospheric breach for the dome. But there are shell bays that actually go straight through into the dome, and it's like I said, there's extra safety precautions so that that doesn't happen. So that's fine. What would he be doing though to help this? Oh, and the water. I should have mentioned about this about the water. Like a very very big shake would cause like the water to fuck up. But I guess there would be dampening fields to make sure that basically the water doesn't actually make a mini tsunami inside the dome. That'd be crazy. Um, it might even be holographic water. That'd be kind of cool. So I just had a brain fart because I was thinking about how holograms work again. Anyway, I'm just trying to tally up all of the damage that would be done to H1, at least to Pike Park. And I think we got like the explosion of rocks H1 causing window panels to fall, debris falls from the dome ceiling onto the Pike picnic and play area. I think that's all of the possible damage. Because like anything else is kind of like, I mean, lighting flickers. It's just like, yeah. It does make you think though, like with this artificial environment, it's like they have a day. They probably have a day-night cycle, and if there's windows like all around this place, then wouldn't it be really funny if like you're trying to have a romantic like walk in the park at night, and it's it's like you're looking up and there's kind of like really big pixelated stars because it's just the windows on the inside of the dome, and it's like people watching us, you know. Like, it would be really hard to be romantic or like have a quickie in the park. But no, we're talking about giant space disaster. We're talking about giant space disaster. Well, I'm talking about giant space disaster. I guess that would be it. I don't think there's anything else that would actually be like hugely affected by a giant space disaster that happens directly above the dome. Like the explosion actually happens directly above the dome. You'd think it would cause more damage. Structurally, the thing's just way stronger than that. It's a really big explosion. Oh, I mean, it killed a guy. We already seen that it killed a guy. Although then again, a tiny explosion would kill a guy. No, I think that's it. I think that's all the damage that I can justify basically doing. I could add more later. Okay, so he's the chief of security, so like instantly he would basically be coordinating shit. I guess he would like ask team leaders. Um, Communicate. With sorry, my pen just decided to the fuck off. What the fuck? With team, with the team leaders. With his security, and then basically just like standard emergency situation. Well, what would be the standard emergency situation? That's what I've got to write down here, dummy. I guess it would be evacuation, right? It would just be evacuation. Like it's less urgent the further down the station that you go, because the explosion happens in the in the middle. The explosion happens there, but it's the brunt of the explosion is here, part of the mushroom head and part of the dome. It's like the most of the explosion happens and is contained in this segment. Like once you get to H2, Habitat 2, where everybody's quarters are and stuff, it's like it gets a bit it's not really, that section isn't affected almost at all. And like the lower sections aren't affected at all. Besides like maybe some minor damage from an EMP or something. I don't know, when you have a warp containment breach. Ugh, I know you get a little shockwave at least, but it's not really super damaging. So you'd evacuate everybody to H2. Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's all I've got to write for this guy. That was easy. A9. A9. A is the incident and 9 is the character. Okay, where's the character for number 9? Number 9. I think that's his wife, right? Lilith O'Sullivan. Crewman O'Sullivan or Dr. O'Sullivan. Oh, which one do I do? Crew. Doctor. O'Sullivan. She's dead. I mean, that was simple. That one's easy. Like, she's working. First of all, she's working in this segment, and I've got to figure out now, like, if she's actually dead or if she's just like not. Most of the hospital complex is heavily damaged, but isn't destroyed. Some of it is still working, and also she doesn't have to be working in that particular hospital complex. Around the entire station, there are like med bays, sick bays, clinics, pharmacies, infirmaries. Like that, every single segment has at least one kind of like a sick bay of some kind. The habitat, the H2 in particular. I mean, it has clinics and stuff, infirmaries. What was the one that was on Deep Space Nine? What was that called? Was that the infirmary or was that the clinic? I know it wasn't sick bay. It was called something else. Like the medical complex. Which wasn't really a medical complex. Oh my god. Thank you, computer. So I just got a warning on my computer saying, like, cold weather now. Helpful. I think I'm gonna go. I've been on for an hour and a half and nobody's said anything, so I'm gonna hit the goodbye button. But thank you for anybody that watched this on playback. I'm sorry that it wasn't that exciting. I'm just realizing now that this isn't actually helping as much as I thought it would. I'm trying to think of, details and stories and stuff, and it's without anybody to bounce off of. The ideas aren't coming as quick as I was hoping they would if I was just talking to basically myself. So I'm going to go. But again, I will be back. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but soon in the future. And yeah. Hopefully my hours will reset and everything will be great. But I think I'm gonna play on the computer for a little bit. Or something, or just write. I just put the pen down, but maybe while I'm watching TV, I write. It's weirdly quick. So yeah, I'm gonna do that instead. Okay, toodles.